You've seen the trash talk, the gestures, but what happens when a rivalry months in the brewing finally hits the professional stage? And one side gets completely dismantled. On a scorching August day in Chicago, Caitlin Clark did just that. Humiliated Angel Reese in a way that left many jaws agape, her rival scrambling on the court as she casually cruised to victory. This was no ordinary game. It was another chapter in a rivalry timed by the clock. Since the NCAA championship earlier this year, spilling over into the WNBA. The two players had faced off countless times, but this time the stakes were higher than ever. The media pressure, especially from ESPN, who had hyped them as front runners for the Rookie of the Year prize, added fuel to the fire. But on this day, Caitlin Clark made it crystal clear who the better player was. In the weeks leading up to the showdown, ESPN further stoked the flames with their controversial Rookie of the Year projections. Despite Caitlin Clark's brilliance throughout the season, Angel Reese was ranked ahead of her on the Rookie of the Year ladder. This decision was hotly debated among pundits and fans, considering that Clark's statistical performance had been substantially better in terms of impact on the court. Clark had been on a scorching tear, delivering game after game filled with points, assists, and clutch plays, leading her team, the Indiana Fever, to one of the league's best marks since mid-June. Meanwhile, Reese's performance had been spotty, showing flashes of brilliance that were often sandwiched between rough games. For all the brilliance Reese occasionally showed, she simply wasn't producing on the same level as Clark, week in and week out. Yet ESPN's rankings seemed content to overlook Clark's dominance, giving the edge to Reese based more on hype than merit. This set up a highly anticipated matchup. Both rookies had something to prove. For Caitlin Clark, it was a chance to shut down doubters once and for all. For Angel Reese, it was a chance to live up to the immense hype. But as the game unfolded, only one of these players rose to the occasion. Angel Reese entered the match brimming with confidence. She reveled in the attention, thoroughly embracing the cameras and the media during the Chicago Sky's Barbie Day. Her alter ego for the event, Chi-Town Barbie, was on full display. Fans and cameras alike loved it, smiling and posing for pictures. It seemed like Reese had already won before the first whistle had even blown. The swagger in her demeanor spoke of a player who knew she was about to dominate. Or so she thought. The media hype surrounding her and her high Rookie of the Year ranking only served to stoke her confidence even further. While Reese basked in the fanfare, Caitlin Clark remained businesslike. She wasn't there for the theatrics or the drama or the overindulgence. Her focus was clear. She had one goal in mind: to win at all costs. When the game finally tipped off, it didn't take long for Caitlin Clark to make her presence felt. On the very first possession, she demonstrated that she was playing on another level, with a razor-sharp focus, draining deep three-pointers and slicing through the defense with ease. Every time she hit a shot, Clark played to the crowd, playfully asking if her shot had gone in, a display of confidence only a player in full control of the game could pull off. Meanwhile, Angel Reese was struggling to find her rhythm. For all of her pregame bravado and bragging, she was thoroughly outmatched on both ends of the court, missing easy baskets and failing to make defensive stops. By the time the first quarter ended, the Sky's early 21-9 lead had evaporated, thanks largely to relentless pressure from Clark. The momentum had decisively shifted to Clark's team. Caitlin Clark picked up in the second quarter right where she left off. She started the quarter by nailing a logo three-pointer, a shot so deep that it bordered on comical, yet she made it look routine. The crowd erupted in cheers, and the pressure on Angel Reese hit a fever pitch. Reese, desperate to respond, ended up traveling on her next possession, a mistake that underscored her growing frustration. Meanwhile, Clark was on fire. She wasn't just scoring, she was orchestrating the offense with precision, setting up her teammates and finding success at every turn. Reese couldn't find her footing. Her frustration was visible with each possession, compounding her struggles. Every time she tried to make something happen, Clark was one step ahead, forcing Reese into awkward shots and bad decisions. By halftime, the Indiana Fever had turned a highly anticipated contest into a comfortable lead, with Clark's brilliance shining through. While Clark thrived, Reese's struggles were all too obvious. The third quarter is where the game truly began to slip away from Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark exploded, scoring from every corner of the court and completely dictating the pace. With 23 points and 9 assists, by this point, Clark had firmly established her dominance. On the other hand, Reese was visibly frustrated. Every attempt she made to impact the game was met with resistance from Clark. Whether it was missed layups, turnovers, or failing to guard Clark on the perimeter, Reese simply couldn't gain any traction. She looked lost. As the quarter progressed, what was supposed to be a showdown between two Rookies of the Year candidates had turned into a lopsided affair. By the end of the third, Clark's mastery of the game was undeniable, and the crowd was fully behind her. Heading into the fourth quarter, the Indiana Fever had a 25-point lead, and Caitlin Clark was simply sealing the deal. Playing with an air of supreme confidence, she tossed up long-range shots, orchestrated the offense, and showed no signs of letting up. She was untouchable. Meanwhile, Angel Reese was fighting a losing battle. Her desperation was evident as she chased rebounds and forced bad shots in an effort to pad her stats, even as she secured a meaningless double-double. With 10 points and 11 rebounds, most of it came when the outcome of the game was already decided. Reese even missed consecutive free throws late in the game, a final insult in what had been a disastrous performance. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told the real story. A 27-point blowout victory for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Reese had been thoroughly outplayed. Caitlin Clark didn't need to talk trash. Her basketball spoke volumes. What was supposed to be a battle for Rookie of the Year had turned into a one-sided affair, with Clark leaving no doubt who deserved the title. While Reese had been touted as a media darling, her performance on this night had fallen flat. Clark had annihilated her on the court, her effort a testament to quiet dominance. By the end of the game, everyone knew it, the fans, the media, and most importantly, Caitlin Clark knew it. Her silent revenge was complete. It wasn't just about winning on that day. Clark had solidified herself as the superior player in the rookie landscape. This victory had cemented her place at the top, leaving no room for doubt.